guys, it's Arlette from Chasing Joy, and I'm back doing another baby making update video for you guys. Today is cycle day 9, and it is about, I just counted and I forgot what the number was, but I think it's about 34 or 35 days before my frozen embryo transfer. And I'm just doing a quick video because my doctor just called and we discussed the fresh transfer, and I was just going to share with you guys her thoughts on the transfer and tell you guys what I'm planning to do a little different this time with the frozen transfer than I did with the fresh transfer. So so the doctor called. Actually, I called my nurse yesterday because it has been over a week since the finding out the official beta being negative and that the fresh transfer failed. And no doctor had called me. My nurse called me and we kind of went over the plan for next step. But my doctor did not call me. And I mentioned on the previous video that my doctor is actually leaving. She's staying at the practice, but they have offices in multiple states. So she's actually going to a different state. So I was just left a message with the nurse. Like, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get like lost in the shuffle or overlooked. So I left, a nice but firm email that I expected someone to call me, who was the doctor, and I definitely let her know that I was perfectly fine with our plan and what she's doing for me as my nurse. But I did expect to hear from the doctor, considering like how much money I'm putting out with this IVF. Like, I guess I feel entitled, which it's not good to feel entitled, but with the amount of money being spent, I feel entitled to a little bit better communication. So I left a message, and then of course the doctor called me today. We had a good conversation. So basically we went over everything that happened throughout the whole IVF cycle, and so basically she felt like the IVF cycle itself was successful, and because we had 14 eggs, and of those 14, 13 were mature, which was much better numbers starting out with than we thought would be, considering that my tests had kind of went downhill, and even though they had gotten better from June of 2016 to September, they had improved a lot. Just the fact that they were bad then, and like my age. So she felt the number of eggs was much better than we had hoped for. And I feel that way too, because I'm still very pleased with the number of eggs. And then, so I started out with 14 eggs, 13 were mature. Then they did the ICSI, or the ICSI. This is where they take the sperm and the needle, one sperm at a time, and inject a sperm into each egg. And once they did that, of those, 10 fertilized normally. And then on day 2, only 6 had progressed to the number of cells, whatever, that they like to see. So it was kind of conflicting and a little confusing what she said. The fact that only 6 had started to dividing stuff normally on day 2 was a little less than average, less than what she would expect for me, for my age at 36, almost 37. But the fact that of those 6 that were doing well on day 2, by day 6, which was the day after my frozen transfer, total, including the day after my fresh transfer, a total of 5, including my fresh transfer, had survived and were at that point rated AA and AB quality. She thought was very, very good and much, much higher results than they expect. Typically from day 2 to day like 5 or 6, they expect to lose half. So the fact that I had 6 on that day and then I ended up with 5, she thought was like super, super, super great. And she said like, oh, you know, you must have some divine intervention, which I do have lots of divine intervention because I have an amazing God and I've been praying so hard, and I know you guys have been praying for me too. So overall, she felt that my egg quality seems good. And that the fact that I went from the 10 that fertilized down to 6, she felt could have just been bad luck, you know, this batch. Because the fact that of the 6, 5 made it and are rated AA and AB speaks more about the quality of my eggs. So that made me feel good that she thinks my egg quality is good, because I've definitely done work to improve that. Sorry for the background noise, guys. I have locked my cats out of the room so I could do this video in peace, and the cat has managed to find a hanger that was on the floor and is trying to pull it under the door. So forgive the noise, guys. Sorry. But anyway, so that's what she had to say about the IVF itself. My lining was good, and the embryo that they put in was a 5-day blast, and it was rated AA. So pretty much a picture perfect embryo. So basically she said with only putting one in at a time, you know, it's like a 40% chance that it wouldn't work, and she thinks I just had the unfortunate luck to end up in the not working portion of that percentage. So you know, so basically there's nothing that went wrong. Everything went perfect, just didn't work. So in my mind, that means that God has just said not yet. So moving forward, so the plan is still the same from what I told you guys before when I talked to the nurse. I'll be doing a frozen embryo transfer. I am on birth control. Today is my 8th day. Well, tonight when I take it before bed will be my 8th day of birth control. So I think I have about a week or a little less than a week left of that. And then I will go in for an ultrasound, and they will make sure I have no cysts or anything like that, and that my ovaries seem suppressed, nice and quiet. Then I move on to the estrogen, and then start the progesterone about a week prior to the frozen transfer date. And I think I already told you guys I scheduled it, or will be scheduling it for Thursday, March 24th. I think that's the 24th. So I don't think that I did anything to cause it to not work. I was watching another YouTuber, and I don't remember her name, I'm sorry. But she was kind of pointing out, you know, we do all these things to increase our odds. But in reality, you know, it's not really much that we can do. And in my opinion, I think God decides when there's going to be a new life and when there's not. So even when we do all the right things, it might not work. And then you have cases where, you know, there might be a woman who's pregnant and doesn't want to be, and she might purpose or doesn't know she is, and maybe she's like, you know, running around doing contact sports and, you know, partying, drinking, not getting sleep, eating horribly, and then her pregnancy ends up being completely successful, because it's not really up to us, which is the hard part. That being said, one of my, I would say, least positive character traits is I like to feel in control. I don't like to feel like a victim or that things are happening to me. So I do plan to do some things different this cycle, just to give myself more peace of mind in general, because peace of mind can never be a bad thing. So for starters, this cycle I'm going to be taking baby aspirin. I had asked my doctor about taking baby aspirin way back when I had before my first IUI, and she felt like that was something that they used to automatically tell people to do years and years ago, and then over time, different statistics show that it wasn't necessarily helpful for people unless something indicated that they had like clotting issues or whatever and needed the blood thinning properties from the baby aspirin. But she also felt like it could not hurt, and she kind of left it up to me to try that. And I only tried it one cycle, and it was not a successful cycle, so I never tried it again. But I mentioned it to the nurse this time, and she felt that it could be a good thing to try. It definitely wouldn't hurt anything. So when I start the estrogen, I will also start taking a baby aspirin. So that's one big difference. Another difference is with the fresh transfer, I had things kind of in my mind planned out that I would have the transfer a few days before I was hosting this event, because the event would keep me busy and I would not be as obsessing as much about if it worked, if it didn't. Well, I still obsessed. It didn't make any difference. And the event, like preparing for an event, is stressful. So I don't know if that had any impact on anything. So this time I picked the day that I picked because it was a Thursday. And I'm off work from the day job on Fridays. So I have it set up where I have nothing going on that whole weekend. So I'll be able to get the transfer and then just kind of chill out. My doctor does not recommend bed rest. They kind of recommend you kind of take it easy the first couple days, maybe don't go to the gym those days and kind of just hang around like a couch. Basically say like couch potato. And then after that, they say you can kind of resume your normal activities within reason, like, maybe don't super exert yourself, but that's kind of what they recommend. So I won't be doing anything like stressful that whole weekend, and that's about it. So another thing different is I'm going to try to get back on track with my eating and my healthy diet. One of the disadvantages for me, and I think a lot of people, is when you're very strict with your diet, then you kind of fall off and you go the other way. So that definitely happened. I had been so strict for so long to meet my BMI requirements so that I could do the IVF, that kind of after, as I kind of felt like, I can finally eat what I want again. And so trying to reel that back in, I saw somewhere online, and I don't know if this is true at all, that too much dairy can I guess how dairy can make you like mucousy. If you have like a cold or something, you're kind of supposed to cut back. The too much dairy can actually make too much, I guess, mucousy or I guess mucus. I don't know another word. Sorry. It's gross. I'm saying that word so many times too. But basically too much of that in your uterus and kind of makes it slick. So, which is hard for implantation. I don't know if that's true. Seems kind of logical, but I don't know. But then I kind of looked up dairy, and basically what I saw is they found that people who had like 1 cup of full fat dairy per day had better fertility, but people who had more than that, the fertility decreased, and people who had less than that, the fertility decreased. So I think I was a bit above, at least above my normal, because I was eating a lot of chocolate and just enjoying the fact that I could have like some nice rich chocolate since I wasn't being so strict with my calories. So I'm going to try to bring my diet back in check. And what else am I going to do different? So another thing, I've had heard with Chinese medicine, they recommend you not get cold, like you stay warm, like you always wear socks. And I don't really know how I feel about that either. The theory is if you keep yourself warm, and you keep your extremities warm, that it keeps all the blood more in your core, which I guess like your uterus is like close to your core, as opposed to your body sending blood out to the extremities to warm them up. So I think, anyway, I say all that to say that after my fresh transfer, me and my cousin went to lunch and I had a milkshake, and I totally wasn't even thinking about like the temperature or anything. So I think I will try to have more like warm stuff. after the transfer, at least like immediately after. Like I said, I don't think me having the milkshake did anything, but you know, I'm going to try. So basically, I'm going to try to eat better. I'm going to try to stay warm. I'm going to do the baby aspirin and try to really, really keep my stress down and like get a lot of rest. And as always, I've struggled to get enough water. But that's basically what I plan to do different with the frozen transfer than the fresh. So anyway, guys, this video is already going longer than I planned. So I'm going to sign off now and wish baby dust to all of you. Thank you all for watching. Please keep in touch with me in all the social media links in the comments. And I think the next video you guys will see will be how my 2 appointments go prior to the transfer. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.